Okay, so what's happening in our property markets across Australia and here on the Sunshine Coast, and where is it all heading? That's what I unpack in this week's property market update. You can check out the full read there by heading on over to martinuzzi.com.au. So Capital City annual price growth reviewed this week in the CoreLogic's June housing chart pack. It is the narrowest we've seen it since March 21, sitting at 9.8 percentage points. So what that means is the lowest performing capital city as opposed to the highest performing capital city is seeing the narrowest gap in annual price growth. Now, this compares to August last year when we actually saw that gap blow out to 26.1 percentage points. Now, that's the widest we saw since the mining boom pre-GFC. So it shows that the capital city prices are starting to balance out. Now, my reason for this is affordability. So we're seeing some of those capital cities which have been significantly growing in annual price property dwelling growth, like Brisbane, Adelaide, Perth, for example, starting to slow down as affordability wanes, whereas areas like Melbourne are starting to pick up again. So a lot of investors and people returning to those markets where affordability is becoming more realistic. We are seeing regional areas still grow considerably, and that is because of also affordability. So a lot more people and investors pushed out to regional parts of Queensland, regional parts of South Australia, Western Australia, etc., which are performing quite well. Some of those areas have seen property price growth above 12% year on year. Nationally, property price growth is at 6%. And what's driving demand? Well, those couple of cash rate cuts we saw earlier this year has certainly improved buyer confidence. However, where we're seeing the hottest demand on the Sunshine Coast at least is sub $1 million. So a lot of interest in that particular market. Properties above $1 million need to be presented very well and present really good value, and are still performing very well, but the demand isn't as significant in the sub $1 million mark. So we've seen a lot more properties come to the market in May. However, it's still lower than the averages. It's improved on this time last year, but overall total listings are still down. So we're seeing high demand, less properties for sale, and that's going to continue to push up the prices. So I share all my insights in this week's property market update. Head on over to martinuzzi.com.au and have a great week ahead.